Hello and welcome back to Everything Wrong with the World. I am Skylar Tortajada. Thank you for choosing to listen on this fine day. I don't know why I said that, but welcome back. Today, I wanted to touch on a topic that was a little more specific and close to home, a little more of like a current exact topic, but in a way where we can kind of expand on it and think of it in a more broad way. In a more worldview type of way where we can apply it to different things. Because something that's going on right now in Jersey City is something that we can apply to different situations here in our town, situations all around, and we can kind of spread that out and talk about a bunch of different things with that. So, getting started with this, I wanted to talk about something that's going on in Jersey City because I feel like a lot of the times when we hear about current events and things that are going on and like these big changes that happen in government and, you know, all these political things and everything that's going on, we kind of think of it as like a big, like it's a national issue or it's a global issue and like someone higher up is going to help and fix it. But this is an issue that's closer to home, not only for us because it pertains to something that we experience and view in our everyday life, but also because it's a town in our state. Like this is, you know, when we think about like governor, we're like, it's just New Jersey, like, you know, but this is something that's happening in New Jersey that's like, it's impacting a lot of people and it's extremely important. And I feel like it's good to focus on that, you know, specifically in our state and think of things like that because a lot of people will just be like, New Jersey sucks. I hate living in New Jersey. But we do live in New Jersey, and we can impact the decisions that are made in New Jersey. Not necessarily at, like, my age. Like, I can't vote, so I can't impact decisions in that way. But I can impact decisions through, like, rallying, through, you know, you always hear people say, like, call, email, write a letter to your senator or your governor or whoever it is. As children, we can make more of an impact than we think we can, as in the place we're in, like to our state, to our town, to our nation even. But that's beside the point. What I wanted to talk about was the school system in Jersey City. So Jersey City is a poorer city or town of New Jersey. Like, we think of our school and our town and we're like, wow, Piscataway is so trashy. I hate the school here. This is like the worst. There's like always fighting or whatever. But we have it way better than we think we do because, you know, this is like an inner city school. These are kids who aren't getting the same resources as us. You know, there's like literal fights every day. There's literal people dying. There's people being shot and there's like actual issues that these kids are going through. Not to like compare anything, but these kids at this point need attention from other towns and other states and other, you know, higher up authority because we need to focus on the education of these children because they're facing a lot of obstacles that we don't even realize in our everyday life. We think that every person thinks that they face the most amount of obstacles. They think like it's not even, I'm not even saying that like those people are selfish or because I do it too. I'm like, wow, my life sucks. I have to deal with this. I have to deal with that. I have to deal with this. And like not taking into account that other people have so much worse things. And even when we think about this, we think about poverty in America and you could even compare that to poverty in third world countries. Like they would think that the people we think are impoverished are like the richest people in the world. Where it's like, there's definitely, everyone's life is different and there's that disconnect. But these children in particular are kids like right in our backyard, like this is going on right near us, right around us, where these kids are receiving extremely subpar education already. Like the education system, it's like we feel, I feel like kids think in our school, like we have the worst teachers ever, like the school is disgusting or whatever. But you don't even realize what you have until you see what, like, how little other people have. like, yeah, we have, like, some, like, not to name names or anything, of course, but, like, sure, you might have a teacher that you don't like, or we may even have some teachers that are like, this is a bad teacher, or, like, people think that. But we also have some really amazing educators, some people that are extremely dedicated to the children in this school. Like, I have like a core group of like maybe 3 or 4 teachers. Like, that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's 3 or 4 people that I feel that I could trust in the school system. 3 or 4 people, adults that I feel like I could go to. And I feel like that's such a privilege to have, because in other schools they really don't have that. And speaking on that manner of adults that really care and adults that are in this school, this topic, the topic of what's going on in Jersey City and the Jersey City school system, is something that we actually talked about in my World Cultures class with my teacher, Mr. Viney. He's extremely passionate about the subject, and he's taught me a lot about, like, basically fighting for what you believe in, not fighting, like just standing up for what you believe is right and how you should go about that. And so a lot of this information is things that we talked about in class. I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you for the topic if you're watching, Mr. Viney. And that's just an example of one amazing person that is there for students in this school. And if he's not the person that you like, then maybe somebody else is. But, like, there's so many opportunities to have someone that you feel like you can go to. And in other schools, that's just not the case. So specifically what's going on in Jersey City is that they have this mayor, I think a newer mayor, that has decided to try and pass this, I guess, law. I don't really know the technicalities. I didn't research this subject, like, specifically, like hard research myself, because I kind of wanted to just know the idea of what's going on so that I could talk about it, rather than, like, being spewed all these, like, facts. And especially because any news site you read is going to be biased in some way. But although in this case, I'm going to argue a specific point because I feel like that's just the correct way. So I'll explain more of it, where it's like this mayor, he wants to be the one to elect all of the Board of Education officials. So in our town, we, every 2 or whatever years, your parents will go down to, like, the firehouse or something, and then when they're voting for, like, governor or even president or whatever it is that time that they go, there'll also be, like, a whole other section of, like, random people, and you're like, who are these people? But those are the people of the education system. Those are the Board of Education elected officials, I don't know. But your parents get a say. And I even, like, my mom, she doesn't really know. She doesn't really research on it. She says she doesn't have time. But I am able to, she asked me, like, who do you think is good? Because you know. And so our parents and even us at times get to kind of choose and weed out who is going to help further our education, who's going to run this system and try and create the most beneficial education opportunities for us. But what they want to do in Jersey City, or what they wanted to do in Jersey City, is that they have the mayor make all these decisions, and then the people don't get a say. And the reason why this is such a problem, like, with our elected education officials, like, no matter who wins, they're all fairly good choices. Like, people don't spend a lot of time researching that. Like, that's usually they're not going to vote just to vote for that. But, like, all the choices are fairly adequate. Because we live in a middle-class town in which, whether or not who's in charge, like, we're still getting at least a pretty good education. But in Jersey City is a poorer city, and the main degree controlling poverty is education. When people don't have access to the higher level of education that others do, that's how we get these high rates of poverty and people being stuck in a cycle of poverty, where if you're poor, you're living in the poor poorer cities. You're living in Jersey City. And then you go to this poor high school that doesn't have any money for good education. And then you don't get a good education. And then you go to a poor college or a worse college. And you get a worse education from there. If you even get into college because you received such a bad education. And then you get a lower paying job. And then you're right back in Jersey City where you started. That's how people kind of get stuck in this cycle. And that's how education can affect this cycle. Because in like here, we get a good education. We live in this middle class town. We get an excellent education. You know, Piscataway is a pretty good school system when you get down to it. I'm not trying to be like a goody two shoes, but if you're comparing it to other school systems where, you know, like half the kids don't graduate every year and it's like an awful mess in the school and the teachers don't care, it's like our school system is pretty good. And then we go from that, and then like tons of people every year get into these Ivy League schools and they go on and they become surgeons or whatever, or engineers, and then they make all this money and then they can move wherever they want and create a better future for the next family and just keep moving up. But these people in impoverished areas with bad schools don't get to do that moving up because they don't have anywhere to start. You know, you have a bad education, that's a bad start. It's so hard to get out of that. You don't have the connections that other people have. And so if the mayor of this town, the guy who's like, you know, he's this rich white guy in the town, and he doesn't have the best interest in mind for these kids. He doesn't realize what he's doing. He's just trying to get a leg up. He's trying to help himself, is what most people believe. Again, I'm not saying that that's the only option. I'm just saying that that's what it seems like, because he's taking the right away from these people to try and work for their best interest and work for what's best for their children. And that's why a lot of people, there were some videos on the news of a bunch of people at city council, and that's why those people were so passionately debating the city council, so passionately arguing for their points, because these are their friends and their children and, you know, people they know, people they grew up with, people they saw grew up, and people that are going to continue to get a subpar education, and it's going to become even worse with this. And it's not even like you have to be connected to it. It's just that you should automatically have some level of sympathy for these people, because like kids like us, we get such a good education that we should be able to see that these kids are in need and be able to, you know, of course you don't have to go out to city council and like argue for this or whatever, because I know like that's unreasonable to ask everyone, just be like, just go down to city council and change it. But like, just be able to appreciate what you have, basically. Because these people were so passionately arguing for it, but as we know in politics, like, it's not always about what's best. That's not always what happens. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. But I feel like it seemed like, as far as the information that I got, because Mr. Viney, my history teacher, he was there and he was telling us about it. It seemed like a lot of the people that voted for this to happen, for the mayor to be able to elect the Board of Education, it seemed like it was just like a sad, defeated day in which the right thing was not done at all. The thing that was in the best interest of people who were, you know, probably getting something out of it for themselves happened. Where I feel like that happens a lot in politics. It's like, it's not what's best, it's what's best for the small minority of people that are controlling things. And I think that that's really sad. That, you know, these children aren't gonna, they're already in such a bad place in terms of their education and their opportunities. And this is just gonna drive them further and further down. Because it's not like the mayor is someone who's with them and who's seeing this and is like, okay, I'm gonna fix this for you. It's like he's someone who's like, I'm going to do whatever is best for my political gain, which I don't mean any disrespect to anyone or anyone who believes in him or, you know, is a political follower of him. But that's what it's seeming like from the outside. And I'm sure that's what it's seeming like from the inside. And it's just, it feels like, even to me who's not involved in the situation, it feels like a defeat. It feels like, okay, this political guy has won. He's won his power. He's won whatever he wants to do with this power, which it just makes no sense, where it's like, why would you have to take the one thing away from these people who are just trying to help their children and help their friends and everything? But he got his power. He got whatever he wanted, and these children are just, it's not like anyone's thinking about them specifically. It's just like, okay, those are those kids. They're going to this bad school. Let that happen. But no one is thinking about, like, there's so many individual children. Like, what could each person be? Like, if you take, like, look, okay, Jersey City. Take, like, say you have all these kids from Jersey City. You know, some of them are going to be in jail. Some of them are going to die before they graduate high school because of something, you know, violence related. You know, kids, that happens to kids all the time in Jersey City. And it's like either that or, you know, they go to some subpar college and end up back in Jersey City. Maybe one kid gets out of Jersey City. And it's like, take all those kids and move them to somewhere like Piscataway. And then look at it. Look at, like, this one kid becomes a doctor, cures cancer or something. Not that, like, that's like a stupid example, but like, children have so much, but potential is stunted of opportunity. Because you could have the dumbest kid ever and just get him like thousands of dollars worth of tutoring and private school and whatever, and then that kid becomes super successful and a doctor, or I don't know why I keep saying doctor, but like a lawyer or something, or whatever he wants to be. But then you take this other inner city kid, and he's the smartest kid, he's the brightest kid, he's the most hardworking kid, and you just take away all that opportunity. You take away the money that he has to spend on tutoring or whatever outreach program or whatever it is, and then he just ends up back where he started, and then it just, the cycle keeps going. You can't get out of it. And I think that's the worst. It's like there's a guilt that, like, we're so privileged in what we have in our school. Like, there's so many great people in this school. There's some sucky people, but there's so many great people in this school. And I feel like we need the only way to defeat poverty in America and the super high rate of it is to give everyone an equal opportunity, because opportunity is everything. If, you know, you need opportunity to do everything. You need opportunity to make money, opportunity to work hard, opportunity to survive. And opportunity isn't something that we could just make and hand out, but a way to try and neutralize opportunity is to give people access to equal education. It might be hard because some cities are poorer and the city doesn't have enough money to fund education. But, you know, funding aside, we have to let people choose what's in their best interest for their children and their family and their friends. And I think that's the bottom line of we need to be thinking not about ourselves, not about the top, not about the 1%, but about all the people below us who need our help. And I guess that's the message for today. I already ran out of time. But thank you for watching. Thank you. So many people watched the last episode already. Thank you for whoever's watching. Thank you for, you know, anyone who comments, nice comments or suggestions. Join us next week. If you didn't like this episode, maybe you'll like next week's episode. And just try to keep things in mind. Try to keep other people in mind. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week. I'm Skylar Tortajada, and this has been Everything Wrong with the World. Thank you. How do I? Oh, God.